This is AI Expo Africa, and we're here with Keith Jones, co-founder of SW7. Keith, can you give us some of the background around SW7?
Yeah, SW7 is a tech accelerator. We're the largest tech accelerator in Africa. We've done 9 programs, so we've accelerated 150 businesses directly. We've mentored about 300 businesses, 300 tech businesses. We've been going for about 4 years. Worked with most of the banks, worked at the first fintech accelerator in Africa. So we've been working in the startup space for probably longer than most people in the country. And we've seen a lot of AI businesses come through, and also where the trends are happening in the market is we're moving towards big data, we're moving towards IoT, and everything's leading towards data. And what do we do with it, and how do we apply it?
And you were also in charge of a track today, right?
I was in charge of the plenary track, so I was listening to the keynotes and seeing what the keynotes were talking about and what the trends were.
And anything interesting that we should know?
Yeah, kind of some obvious stuff. So the first thing is the customer intimacy. So everyone talks around. So where we're moving to is we're moving to micro markets. So everyone's talking about the bell curve and the early adopters curve. That curve is flattening, and what's happening now globally is the middle is becoming flat and the outsides are getting a bit broader, and everyone's looking for bespoke. And the customer wants to be special, and every customer wants to be treated as an individual customer. And what's happening is all of the solutions that used to work sort of at a broad level are not working at a broad level anymore, because you've got to go for your customer specific needs. So the first thing I'd say is the customer intimacy, customer needs track is kind of leading the way, and because people are getting busier, and they are getting the adoption is discretionary. So make it appeal to me, make it relevant to me, make me like using it, and I'm involved. So the first thing for me is customer intimacy is a big thing. I'd say the second trend is the focus on AI. People tend to talk about AI, and AI is the middle link of a long journey. And the first journey is the business case and getting the data and understanding what you need. And we reckon that's about 40% of the journey. AI is the 20% in the middle, and then the last 40% is getting it to market and actually getting people to use it. So AI is the link, but it's not the process.
Yeah, everyone I've spoken to so far has said, and they've tried to make it very clear, that without data there is no AI.
Yeah.
And without good data there's no AI.
Yeah, and Africa is one of the things we are good at is producing bad data. So everyone says I want good data. Now what they're saying is in AI terms, I need 50,000 clean records. So 50,000 clean records, fine for a bank, fine for a retailer, fine for the big guys. If you go to the smaller businesses, IoT fine, because again you've got a high transaction volume there. But if you go for sort of the mid-market businesses, 50,000 transactions is quite a lot. So, and then they say you need it, but then they don't put it in context. They don't tell you what the effort it takes to get it. And we say 40%, and the guys I'm working with say no, it's way, way more.
Yeah, because it's really difficult to get that.
It's really hard to get clean data, and it's really hard to understand your data, and it's really hard to see the data, to be able to derive a business case, to say if I look at the data I can increase customer churn, or I can decrease customer churn, or increase my sales. So you need to look at the data, and you need to know that inside the data is the data that you're looking for, if that makes any sense. The data has to be able to yield the result, but you kind of need to know that before you start, because you can't hope for stuff if you go through this exercise, and as you say, hope is not a strategy.
No, it's not. And as an SME, that's quite difficult. I mean, 50,000, that's a lot for a small business.
It is a lot, but then again, it comes back to the SME, and this comes back to the distinction between predictive analytics and where does AI, artificial intelligence, and when it is a clever forecast or a good prediction. And those markets are sort of blurring, and you can do most of what the small businesses want on a prediction model, which is not true AI in the purest sense of the word, but it does the job. So the sectors are all blurring, and you can kind of get what you need, and it's getting easier to get it, but it's not straightforward.
No. That's a good starting point for us, the definitions. So predictive insights versus AI, how would you differentiate that for a small business?
So predictive insights for me is a bottom-up trend, and what that means is I'm selling 5 units, 10 units, 20 units. There's a bit of seasonality to my sales, and I'll project my sales into the future, and I'll say here's where this indicator is likely to be in a year's time or 2 years' time based on the current trend. So I'm using existing data and I'm sort of spreading it forward. AI is behavioral, and it actually leads the demand. So if you spread that forward, it says here's where the demand will be in 1.5 years' time, which is quite a different picture. So AI is trying to predict the behaviors and the market demand, and the predictive forecasting is usually trying to just predict the data that we have. That's the not so simple explanation, I guess.
And have you seen a lot of growth, being an incubator, being with the SW7? How has the growth happened in Africa over the last 4 years?
So the number of AI businesses we've seen has increased enormously. The challenges they face are exactly the same challenges as every other business. Is however simple you think the customer wants to see the data, it's not simple enough. However simple you think you've made it, it's not good enough. So they want really easy, and they don't even want to know it's AI. They don't even want to hear the word. They're solving a problem. You're going to come up and say, just click here. If you just click here next, and we'll do a bunch of stuff, and we'll come back and tell you what's happening, what the future is. And it's got to be really digestible and simple and put in their context. If you tell them you're selling AI, they kind of shut down, because all they hear is $2 million project, I need data scientists, I need this, I need that, and they sort of back away. So you've got to make it really accessible for the customer, because the whole innovation market has made people busier, and they're time poor, and they've got too many decisions to make, and then you bring in another decision, and as soon as the decision sounds complicated, they just back away. So it's the simplicity for the customer that's everything. So the AI, it's just another way of packaging a solution. The customer doesn't care. They just want a solution. So they don't care how you wrap it, and they don't care what's in the box.
No.
They just want the stuff to work, and they want it to be really easy. So
very simple to use, very easy to consume.
And so the data scientist will tell you it's easy to use from a statistical perspective, and it is. But the customer doesn't even want to know that. I just want to click next, and this wow, isn't that cool?
And that comes down to the first point you made, which was consumer-centric, that we need to be able to tailor-make these experiences for the person who is engaging with them.
Yeah, so everybody's special.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to be treated as special, and the reason I want to be special is I'm time poor, I have a specific interest for a specific problem, and you must speak to me, you must solve my problem.
And you're going to be back with us tomorrow, right?
I am, yeah, back tomorrow. Yeah, I'm doing the morning through to probably about 3 o'clock tomorrow, yeah.
It'd be good to talk to you tomorrow and see what the
To see what the next step is, yeah.
Thank you so much for
good.
your time.
Thank you.